Welcome back to Poppy's Workshop, and this is just a quick tip for those of you who have top vacs. And in this case, I think you can see it here, is a 3/4 inch lock line. So it has a pretty big opening right here, again about a 3/4 inch opening. Now, I've already done something here, and I want to give you the what and the whys as to what I did. So one of the problems that I have when I have my top vac going is if I'm working on a piece, for example, in tarsia, and I have small pieces that I want that I cut out, sometimes the suction is too much, so for example, this, say I was doing an eyeball, and this would get sucked up if I didn't keep my finger on it, or maybe uh, as I'm cutting I kind of keep my little sharp edge thing here, whatever, my pointy thing. That is one of the issues that I have, and there are ways around that, but I really like having a top vac than just using the puffer, because that's usually what I do is I'll turn off the vacuum system and just use the puffer. But I don't like having dust blown around. I keep a pretty dust-free workshop, so this has worked. So what I decided to do, I was looking at adding some kind of a filter or blocker or whatever you want to call it to my top vac. So I was looking around on Amazon and I found some faucet aerators. And when I saw the opposite side, I saw this honeycomb design. So let me get my hand going the right way, get it in so it's kind of focused. Not really. Yeah, it's not focusing as well as I want, but I think you can see the honeycombs and the size of them. I was looking for something large enough that would allow dust through, but of course not allow any larger slash smaller pieces. Now the second part of the problem is right now I just switched my vacuum system over to a 1 horsepower dust handling system. That's the one you can either hang on the wall or roll, and it has the big bag, and either put a 1 or 5 micron bag on it. That's all fine and dandy, but the issue that I have with that is that a piece will get sucked up in that, and it'll go through, bang, 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 and just before you get to the impeller, there is another plastic grid. Now that grid either may or may not stop the piece of wood going through, depending on the size. If it does stop it, what winds up happening is all these pieces and sawdust just keep collecting in there, and either or both, it'll circulate around, because that's what's happening with the the air current, and it just bangs around. It's very annoying. On the other side, if it does get through, it bangs the impeller and just hits it and can damage it, stop it, whatever it is. Now, I had switched from a DeWalt shop vac, and that went into actually my Cyclone dust collector. So any large pieces would get sucked in, spin around, drop into a 5-gallon bucket, including most of the sawdust. Everything else goes into the shop vac. Well, shop vac's loud. It's not intended to run for lengths of time versus the traditional dust handling system, and it's really loud. Uh, I like to be able to talk while I'm working, when I'm videoing and everything, and the shop vac really didn't allow that. Now with the dust handling system, 1 horsepower again, it answered a lot of my questions and problems and things like that. However, when I had the Cyclone on, I felt like I lost about half of the suction on my system. And I have not only this, My top vac, you can just barely see it. I have a blast gate here that I throttle the bottom vac. So if this entire piece, for example, covered all these holes, it might get stuck. So I kind of keep it at about 1/3 so I can still pivot. Dust that falls gets sucked out and then goes into the main line system, which, let's get my hand here. You can't quite see it. It's right here. Clear tube, 2.5 inches. So I wound up removing that vortex, that cyclone, and so that introduced other worries. Eventually, what I am going to do is I'm going to upgrade to a 3 horsepower. Then I'll be able to put the cyclone back on. However, let's see all these howevers. It doesn't solve the problem of pieces that I want that get sucked up and through. Hey, it's fine and dandy. I'm working on a piece such as this Sume Easter design, and like this piece here that got sucked up and went into the impeller. I can hear it hit, and it's like, ouch, man, I don't like hearing that. No big deal if I had the cyclone on, but in this case, nope, didn't work. So again, what I did is I took one of these pieces here, and you can see my first experiment was a fail, and I wound up breaking the piece that I wanted. I actually still could have used this, no big deal, but I was able to take one out whole, so it's put in this way, and at the moment I have it just taped into place because I want to test to make sure dust gets sucked through, it just doesn't gather here, and it does stop any of the other pieces that will go through. After, what I'll do is I'll take my my rotary tool and I'll just quick knock these down a little bit so that it goes in further and CA glue it into place, and it will look like it was made to be there. These are just some of the leftover pieces. I'll hold on to them for a bit. You've got this looks like a bigger grid, so you can see that. So if I have issues with the dust collection, I'll figure out how I can insert this into the orange piece. That's why I'm not putting that in permanently yet. So I do have a few of these things here. Let me clear the decks here. And now that I have it temporarily in, I'm making a mess, I'm going to turn on the dust handling system and see what you can hear. See, suction is quite good. Let me just get my microphone closer. And I'm going to move the puffer out of the way. And let's see what happens, how much dust collects. And let me see what I've got in I've got a box here that I catch everything. I want something that's going to make some dust. And I find that some of these lighter hardwoods do a better job. So let's see what this does. I'm not seeing any dust. So if I had to follow a line, it's clearing the line. So let me get my hand out of the way. We're going to get a little bouncing. Let's watch. Oh, it disappeared. Let me see, where'd that go? Let me do this. And that one dropped. So if we look, I don't know if you can see it. Let me zoom in and see. Sorry for the bounce. Can you see it? Yeah, you can see the piece that got sucked up into it. So let me turn off the air handling system. So if I needed that little piece as an eyeball, I can just easily, gravity will do the trick. Should dump out, or I just clear it. It does have its disadvantages if pieces get stuck or whatever, but you know, that was just a real small example. But I can easily, I think that's just the paper there. Yeah, that might have actually got sucked in and fell. I'm not sure if that's, yeah, I think that may be the paper. Can't quite tell, but it did what it was supposed to do. So one of the things, if I do put the cyclone back on, what I could do when I mount this is rather than CA glue it in, I'm going to figure out how I can mount it, whether it stays with tape, and just use this as a temporary measure. When I'm doing intarsia, small piece intarsia, and I have the cyclone back on, then this I just insert. So this may become a temporary thing, whether it's, you know, building a small collar, whether I can just do a little bit of rotary tool work so that it friction fits, because it's really close right now. And I think that may be the first thing that I try is a friction fit, so that I just, you know, put it underneath, and when I start using cutting small pieces, you know, like I'm going to make an eyeball or something like that, I'll insert it and it's good to go. So I like what it does. And yeah, I think I just saw it drop out actually. So I like what it does. I don't have to worry about big pieces hitting the impeller, my smaller pieces getting sucked up when I want them, etc., etc. So it'll be interesting to see when I decide to buy the 3 horsepower unit and put the cyclone back on, and I may just wind up leaving that on anyway. Who knows? The beauty of what we do is that we can change what we do. Let me come out a little bit on the zoom. Zoom, 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 zoom. And that's it. I think that pretty much covers everything for what I wanted to do on this quick tip. So, may you get a great day, and may the Lord richly bless you right here. And where am I? Poppy's Workshop. I just lost my mind. Oh, you gotta love when that happens.